2, General Tire delivers.
Well, Parker Retzlaff finally got himself another win this season. The bigger story is Swane's third place, bringing him closer to Barry. But Keaton still lacks a feature win, and though consistency will certainly help him, he needs to find some speed. Bark River should offer up plenty of that if you're brave enough to keep your foot to the floor. Let's see who flies high today as we get ready to watch Round 9 of the 2023 General Tire National Series, and you'll see it all live here on Podium Esports. Hi, I'm Joe Peak, and joining me in the booth is the voice of off-road, Dave Arnold. Behind the scenes is Cameron Abernon on social media, and our producer, Gary Sexton, who is using cameras provided by Dougie Beard. And we come up here to the Upper Peninsula here and get ready to see some action at Bark River for the second time so far this season. And Dave, last time it certainly seemed to throw a few drivers off. This place takes a lot of precision.
Oh, yeah, definitely. You don't want to make mistakes when you go to Bark River. It is a different track. It has a lot of high-speed, corners, but a lot of straightaways. You're going to get some good speed. But those turns and a few of those 180s are going to trick you up every once in a while.
Yeah, a good mix of the different styles of corners around here, but certainly so many high-speed flyers, and especially a lot of them that take you up and over some jumps over this 1.5 miles and 12 turns, a lot more than many of the other short courses that we see here. Now, for the championship, I mentioned it earlier, Swane gets a little bit closer because of that third place, but not as much as he would have liked. A win certainly would have done him well in that situation. So Barry's still up ahead. He had a feature race last time out. 391 points to 381. So only 10 points separating them here at this stage. Now, as for the race tonight itself, well, it's more like races. We've got multiple heats that are going to be taking place tonight. It'll start out with the heat races of 4 laps each. Now, the top 3 drivers that finish in those will automatically go to the feature race. The final few drivers will go to the last chance qualifiers, also 4 laps each. Top 3 of that goes to the feature. Everybody else from the LCQs will wind up sent home early, unfortunately. Feature race of 12 laps with a competition caution, let's not forget, at the end of lap 5 to rack and stack them back up, and then we'll go racing once again. Hopefully they don't get too spread apart by the end of this one, but that will still bring them back together. So there you can see our details on the screen in case you are a visual person. And hopefully we'll have lots of great visuals of the racing action out on track, which is currently in the process of qualifying for those first heats. And Keaton Swane is responding to Connor Berry. He has the provisional pole.
Wow, that is really going to shake things up there. Connor Berry probably a little frustrated, a little dejected from last week's performance. You know, he's probably put some time in trying to find that extra speed, but you know what? Swain has too. He's really putting in the time out there. He knows he's tired of being a bridesmaid or being, you know, one of the bridesmaids at this point. He's looking to be up on top. He wants to get that podium up on top and stand tall on top of the box, and he's going to find it. But it looks like Raffis, you know, is answering back with a 12.9. He just kind of shocked him up just a little bit.
Yeah, definitely put them aside there. It was a 0.02 of a second between Swane and Berry, but Raffis a full 10th ahead of them as we watch the 903 come around here. One of the few drivers with laps left. They only get 4 laps to try and put a clean lap in. And one thing that we did see last time is this part right here. There's that wall to the outside there around 11 and 12. If the drivers make contact with that wall, and well, that's certainly getting the most out of that for Cody. If they hit that wall there, Dave, it will disqualify the lap. So they have to make sure that it's clean or else iRacing will delete it.
Well, and also you have that finger to the inside of that jump. So sometimes they're going to try and just barely clip that and push it all the way to the wall. And like you said, that could be disastrous at that point. Do you go in and settle the truck, try and hang it out, or do you be a little bit conservative through there? I don't think the conservative guy is going to take the top of the pole.
Exactly. Certainly got to try and push the limits. This is Parker Retzlaff, last week's winner. What can he do? Currently sitting in 7th. Now, this will not start the. This will not set them up for the pole of the heat necessarily. For instance, Jacob Raffis will start on the pole of his heat. Keaton Swane, if it stays as is, will start on the pole of his heat, et cetera, et cetera. So this just puts them in position for those heat races. Still, it's a good idea to try and get as good of a qualifying as you can. There's that little finger you heard him talking about, just up and over. And let's see what Parker has on lap 4. A 13.0 is going to jump him up into P2.
Wow, incredible. Parker Ratzlaff, you know, unfortunately we didn't see him for a couple of races due to the fact that he had actual obligations racing in the real world. But boy, he came out swinging and coming right back again.
By the way, I do see Keaton Swane back out on track. Dashilet also has bumped him down. He's put it into 3rd in that number 23. Here's Keaton now coming along the whoops that now lead into the swift left and right that takes you through 4 and 5. Huge jump here. The cars get so high up in the air and then swings it down into 6. So far, this is looking clean. The question is, Dave, is this going to be clean enough to put him back up to the top spot?
Ooh, it's going to be rough there because these guys have turned some really quick times. And I mean, he's still sitting a little bit in front of Barry there now. But you can see Dashley's time. And I think it's going to be tough. Raffis with a 112.9. That's going to be rough to knock off that much time off his lap this time around.
Yeah, it's still about 0.137. It's incredibly tight. So from P1 to P4, just over a 10th of a second between them. Like you said, they need every little bit, as he's certainly wheeling it here at the end, definitely bounding over a number of these humps as he crosses the line. It's not going to do it. A 13.3 is slower that time by. We've got about a minute left, and I do see Trenton Briley out there. And it looks like he should be able to complete his lap, his final flying lap here. So let's see if this is going to be quicker than his 1:13.5. Yes, by about a 10th of a second. That'll get him into 7th position, which will be our last driver able to set a time. Before we head to the starting grid, of course, we have our special presentation of our nation's anthem. So let's take a moment to pause for that.
Or the land of the free. Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming. And the rugged red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave.
Before we get to our starting grid, we are going to take a brief pause. We'll be back after our sponsors.
For whatever you do, General Tire delivers. Welcome back to Bark River International Raceway. We're getting ready for heat number 1 of the General Tire National Series, and Cody Retzlaff is going to be starting it on the pole. Connor Berry will be P2, and it's Jacob Raffis starting in 3rd. Then it'll be Zach Drapkin in P4, followed by Sean Winkler in 5th, and Scott Kerr in P6. Ryan Lindner starts 7th today, followed by Oliver Golding in 8th for our first heat. Remember, it is 4 laps, and it is down to who can finish within the top 3 that automatically advances into the feature race. Everybody else will get a second opportunity in the last chance qualifiers. They should be taking off momentarily. So as we head into this, with having already taken a visit here once before, Dave, what do you think is most on the minds of the drivers? What should be their big focus?
Man, it's getting through the pack right now, and that's the biggest thing. I mean, it is a 1.5-mile track. It's long, but it's so high speed, it's hard to make the passes really stick. There's so many limited on the lines. They're so tight and down and low going through the corners. You're really going to have to make this happen early.
See if anybody is aggressive at the start because of that, as they're going to be released by the pace truck, and then they'll have to go around a few corners before they are allowed to start the race officially. So you'll see them stay at this pace speed until they get to the start-finish line, with the pits being at a different spot around the track. Should be after this left-hander here through 7, where you'll see that pace truck take off and away. So out of our 8 drivers, looks like only 7 have been able to make the grid. Golding not looking like he is going to be able to take part in this one, unfortunately, which means only 4 drivers will be sent to the last chance qualifier from this one. One fewer than we would have seen otherwise. Kind of a blessing and a curse. Means it's just going to be that much more fierce amongst the few that are there, as we now come through 10 and into 11 and 12. Should see them take off at any point after this next left-hander. Let's see what Cody does. Waiting patiently. There it is. Green flag is out. And there's going to be a big jump right away as they come up this giant hill past the start-finish line. Often see problems out of here on the first lap. So far, so good. One into the grass, but no harm, no foul.
Yeah, I'm kind of curious there. Jacob Raffis with such a quick time in qualifying, back to third with Connor. There's going to be a battle. Cody Ratzliff, he's a little deeper in qualifying, but look at him jump right out front. He's got some great lines. Now, he's going to set the lines that he wants. It's his track at this point. It's Connor, Jacob, it's Winkler, it's Drapkin, Kurz, Linder's time to try and find a way around these guys. You got to make your own lines. As you can see, everyone's hugging that inside line.
Yeah, pretty single file down into turn 6. A few peaks, but nobody really able to try and make a serious move as they now switch back into 7. Slightly wide for Raffis there in third place. Sean Winkler had to think about it, but decided against it. Switches back into turn 9 now, and it does look like Barry's trying everything he can to try and unsettle Retzlaff, but no dice here on the first lap.
And you can see Raffis just right on the back, just kind of mirroring. It's almost like these 3 guys drifting around, kind of mirroring each other there. Winkler's also in there. He's got the same lines. Fortunately, you follow a guy, you can't pass him. And that's one of the biggest things in racing. You got to find a way around. You got to get the shoehorn in there. You got to find some speed.
Up and over the jump down into 2 and 3. Now long left-hander through here as they try and square off the exit and pick up speed. Watching Sean Winkler, currently sitting in that 4th position. He's on the bubble. He needs to overtake Raffis to automatically get himself through into the feature. So again, it's not the end of the night if he doesn't, but it makes it that much more nerve-wracking for him.
Well, I know that he's going to hopefully help, hopefully that Raffis make a mistake is what Winkler's thinking in his head. That's a great shot there, Connor Berry. You can see Raffis all over the backside of him now, and you can see Winkler giving a little shove there to Raffis himself, trying to rattle him a little bit.
They almost went 3 wide down into turn 7, just overlapping one another, kind of similar to what you saw here, except even closer. And then it'll switch back now into turn 10. Low line attempt from Connor Berry, trying different things like you were talking about, going where his rivals are not.
And you can see he was trying to get that line up the inside. He just couldn't get that traction. He had those grabbers just digging at the dirt there. But I'll tell you, Cody Ratzliff is looking really quick right now.
He's been holding him off for now. That track position looking so important today from what we're witnessing. Like you mentioned, they reversed those top 3, and Raffis having to start from a little bit farther back and still unable to overtake them quite yet. Still a big threat here from the number 2 on the number 525 as they fly over the hill way out to the outside there for Connor Berry, flirting with the edges of the track. Manages to get underneath Dave, but he can't seem to complete the pass.
Oh, it looks like Cody made a little mistake. He gets up on it. Connor got a little wide. Look at this. Raffis now trying to get up in the fight there. And it looks like Connor slid back and lost a couple of positions there.
That was a big hit check out of the 13 on the 2, and that's what sent him off wide. He's going to get back into it. Now it's a battle for P4. Going underneath, Drapkin with a brilliant move. Not quite done yet. He tries to use that banking, but he gets shoved into the wall.
Yeah, it looks like that little maneuver kind of cost him a little bit there as he goes high into the turn. Now look at this, with Ratzliff holding off Raffis, and then he got Barry. The incredible thing right now is Barry tried to make the move, got hip check like you said, and now he's got to turn the pressure up and find his groove again. You got to calm down. You got to settle into your groove.
He's still
in qualifying.
Yeah, exactly. He's still in a transfer position as well, and he's got that buffer down to Winkler, so that's the good news there. I'm sure he would prefer not to be in the last transfer position, as look at him, nose to tail, up and over the jump, and back down into 6 once again. Big look into the inside this time from Raffis. Just once again, gets his elbows out a little bit, but can't shove Retzlaff far enough to the side. Oh, gives it another kiss.
Man, it was a little bit 3 wide there. Joe, you know as well as I do, these tracks, with these guys being so close in times now and speed, it's going to be tough. So, when you get a better position there, Barry tries a slide job on the inside there on Raffis and tries to get his rear end in front of his nose, and he does, makes it stick. But back to my thought there, you got to get a good qualifying position when you get into the main event, because these guys are so quick, it's going to be a dogfight the entire time in the main.
Yeah, that's a good point. So definite importance here for him to try and do something. Great move from Connor Barry to make that one work. Given back exactly as he was getting. But is he going to do the same here as he tries to go down to the inside of turn 2? I think he is. Just a little bit of a nudge, and Retzlaff loses grip. He falls back to P2.
Yeah, Raffis unfortunately left a little daylight there, and Connor was able to get his nose in there, and that's the only way you're going to pass on this track. That inside is being so heavily used, you got to hope the guy just leaves a little daylight, slides out to the inside. Once you establish that nose and you're halfway through, you got that pass made.
And that was a big mistake from Raffis. He went a little bit too wide down into turn 4, and Winkler is now through into P3. So Raffis, briefly up into second place, suddenly finds himself now looking at an LCQ if he's not careful.
Yeah, it's incredible how Raffis has been running so well, and all of a sudden a little mistake will take you back there. Winkler was smart. He stayed right on his tail the entire time, and you can see Drapkin back there too, just trying to hunt down Raffis, but this thing is running out of time. 2 laps to go. They're coming to the white. 1 lap. I don't know if they're going to make it happen or not. I think we've established the top 2 for sure. 3rd still up in the air.
Yeah, I think Winkler's going to have to watch out, because Raffis clearly is not messing around today the way that he is kind of shoving others around to try and get his position. And as they come down into turn 2, he's not able to pull the same move that we saw from Connor Barry. And he's certainly not going to be able to take advantage unless he gets a mistake out of Winkler through here, which nothing doing down through the S's. Now back up over the jump. He's right there. He could try it into turn 6, but there's a defensive show of the inside for Winkler.
Yeah, definitely trying to fill that hole there, but you can see right now Winkler and Raffis going toe-to-toe right there. Winkler's just kind of keeping that front left tire on that edge, saying you're not going to get that move.
Scandinavian really wants it, but he just can't seem to get enough of a nose in. And it's going to switch back once again into turn 9, just blocking off that inside line. Winkler doing everything he needs. There's a nose in from the 13, almost trying to shove him off to the side. It's not quite working behind them. They got to watch out because Drapkin is approaching, but Barry up at the very front will take the heat win of the first one tonight. It'll be Retzlaff in second. Third will barely be Winkler.
Yeah, that was a great performance by Winkler and Drapkin trying to find his way up. But the battle that Barry and Ratzliff had was incredible, and that pass was one to remember.
Raffis, Drapkin, Kerr, and Lindner will go to the LCQ. Golding, we'll see if he actually shows up for that. But that will take us to the second heat of the night. Felix Roy is going to be on the pole for this one. It'll be Jarrett Liebert starting in P2. After that, Parker Retzlaff will start from third, our winner from last week. Tom Grady, P4, is followed by Mason Prater in fifth and Bryce Simoneau in sixth. Then Eric Whitner will round out your 7 trucks here this evening. Well, that was more passing than I was expecting, if I'm honest, Dave.
Yeah, I'm a little shocked on that too. But the high speed, sometimes it's hard to hold on to it. You just turn that wheel a little too much. You step out a little bit. You leave a little daylight, and that's how it's going to happen.
Let's remember, it's 4 races for each of these heats. So we should have 4 heats tonight, and then we'll head off to the LCQs after that, each of those 4 laps as well. This mainly determines who has to take part in those LCQs and who will go to the feature of 12 laps. Not everybody will be able to make it on this. So some are going to get cut out, unfortunately, in this style of racing, in this format. And that means that everybody's going to be really eager to try and do their best here in these preliminary races so that they don't wind up sitting out early as we follow them down through the last of the pace lap and wait for the go at the top. Last time it was a good start. We'll see if Felix Roy can also get off the line as quickly here, Dave.
Yeah, they got a lot to contend with. That last race was really quick, really fast. Some good maneuvers, but Felix Roy, he's going to want to get out front and hold that position. That's for sure. But, Parker Ratzliff, he was also quick in qualifying too. So it's going to be interesting to see how these two battle it out.
Green flag is out. Felix is on it. Parker does move up into second quite quickly, and Liebert back down into third in the final transfer position. So can he avoid the pitfalls that we saw Rafis have and late in the race fall behind, or can Retzlaff manage this one? Meanwhile, a lot of bumping and banging back there between Grady and Prater as they go wheel to wheel. In fact, just about tipping one another over. Prater just clipping that inside berm. Now they go high flying up and over the jump and down into turn 6. That side-by-side racing cost them a few car lengths up to P3.
Yeah, I really like how these head and settles the truck over those 2 humps and comes around. You go from a quick right to a big 180 left-hander coming around sliding, and that's where the positions are left open a little to the inside. We saw Connor start to stick his nose up into that area, and this is another spot. You got to hit this. It's almost set up like a chicane.
Ooh, that was awful tight. Parker started to look at it there, and he's going to try for the over-under. He gets the momentum, and that gives him the inside, but he's pinched too far to the inside of turn 11, and he has to check up. That cascades actually down behind them. Liebert was under attack from Grady as well as we check in with Jarrett Liebert's onboard cam, and we got a truck up and over.
Oh, definitely carrying a little too much speed there. It looks like it was Brady. But the nice thing is watching how Ratzliff, he got on the binders, he backed off because, one, he knew he's either going to collide with Felix or he was going to go to the inside of the grass, and that could have caused a problem there by, going off and cutting the course. And you could see just getting that thing the wrong attitude when it came over.
I've been seeing so many of these drivers just really push the limit of that one. They get the truck almost 45 degrees, it feels like sometimes, and that one maybe was a little too far. Meanwhile, we got to go back to the lead because Retzlaff has gotten to the inside. We've seen that story before. It's very similar to what Connor Barry did, but this time it's at a different corner. It's going to switch back on him. He's going to try and carry the speed, but he gets shoved out of the way. Felix Roy's not going to give this one up easily, and he's back up to the top spot.
And Lieber's just sitting back there waiting for these two to either make a mistake and he can capitalize it because he knows that they're pushing it right in front of him. And that's the time you want to be ready to strike. You got to be like a rattlesnake coiled up and ready for somebody to make that move and then go for it yourself.
I have to say, Parker's been doing a good job of that from what I've seen. He's made good attempts at it, and so far he hasn't wrecked both of them, but they've still got a few laps to go. And apologies, looks like 6 laps per. I didn't notice that on the last lap. It did feel longer than 4 laps,
yes,
honestly.
It did.
As they come through the S's once again. Man, Parker is just not letting him relax. Every time he falls off, he's back up on that rear bumper quickly.
Yeah, he's definitely he's got this dialed in here. He's just trying to force a mistake. I think he gets up there, gets a little close there. He's trying to rattle Felix Roy, but Roy, I think he's seasoned enough now where you're not going to really get into his head.
Tries to tuck down to the inside, takes a little bit of the inside berm, unfortunately, and that just
unsettles the truck, but there goes Roy a little bit deep down into turn 9, cuts back across and manages to hold on to P1 still. But all this battling has meant that nobody's essentially separated. It's basically, I'd say, 3 seconds from first to sixth right now.
Well, the incredible thing, we got a battle for first and we got a battle for third right now, that third being the last qualifying position to move you to the main. Prater trying to apply the pressure to Liebert now as they come in through here. And you can really see how that finger I talked about before just unsettles the truck there. And if you over-rotate them, it's going to bring you around.
Yeah, honestly, even the top 4 are within 1 second of one another. That's how tight it's been in this heat. As they switch back, and it's a look down to the inside from our leader, Parker Retzlaff. He's going to try and make a move on Felix Roy. He can't quite make it stick, though, but he continues to just hound him wherever he can.
Yeah, and you can see that Felix Roy, he is just trying to keep that left tire on that inside berm going around. You know, that's one of the things that I think Ratzlaff's looking for a little daylight, and Felix is trying not to give it to him.
So far, so good, but once again, he opens it up just a little bit. That time, I think there may have been a bit of net code involved in it, and it looks like Retzlaff is going to get away with it this time. He's going to take the lead away, and down beneath him, Jarrett Liebert wants this to be 2 for Felix Roy, but he just doesn't seem to have the grunt.
Yeah, Liebert's going to be, unfortunately, on the outside of that one. Roy's going to come in, take that line right away from him. Here comes Prater, pushes Liebert out, makes the pass into the third. Liebert back to fourth. And look at this. Liebert leaps right back into third.
Prater thought he had that one, but Liebert kept his foot in it, even up through the grass. Not as much of a problem for these trucks. You don't have as much grip, but it's certainly not going to slow you down all that much as they come back over the leap once again. Prater knows he needs this position over Liebert.
Yeah, he's definitely going to push the issue here with 2 laps to go. They're going to be coming up on that white flag here very shortly. You know, so I'm going to say it's probably about 2 miles to go till checkered on this one.
Prater's still following behind them. Semino and Whitner kind of battling for that 5th place, but it's not going to mean a whole lot other than a better starting position in the LCQ. We're on board with Mason Prater in the number 50 machine, giving watch. It's going to be white flag next time by, 1 to go.
Definitely they're going to have to force the issue here. Liebert pretty much answered back last time on Prater. Can Prater try to do the same? But I think Prater is starting to drop back a little bit. Has he, realized I'm going to the LCQ and he's not going to push it anymore?
I hope he's not giving up that early.
Yeah.
Liebert, I think, just has got great pace because he's caught up to Felix Roy here. The 91's been doing a spectacular job trying to defend all race long, so he's got some experience, and I think Jarrett's going to have to get a lot closer than this.
Oh, yeah, definitely. He's going to have to get a lot closer to that for sure. Well, here we go. The checker flag's going to come out here.
Yeah, that's down into turn 6, switching back into 7. So scant few left for him to attempt anything, and most of them going to be slow corners from here, Dave, so there's going to be just not much opportunity.
Yeah, no, they've run out of time here. I think pretty much the positions have been established here in this heat race for sure. And I can see right now that Liebert not trying to force it with Roy. They know they're so close to the end right now and you're in a qualifying position. You might as well just settle in.
Absolutely. Parker Retzlaff, in the meantime, exits out of the final corner and takes the heat win. Felix Roy second. Jarrett Liebert advances from third. Then it's Mason Prater, Bryce Semino, Tom Grady, and Eric Whitner, who will head to the last chance qualifier. Eric must have had an issue that we missed because he wound up in pit lane at the end. So not sure what exactly happened with him there. It's going to transfer us on to the third heat of the night, though. And this time it's going to be Colin Murphy on the pole for this heat. Then it's going to be Trenton Briley starting in second and Nicholas Dachelet in third position. Cody Winiecki starts P4, followed by Tyson Miller in fifth, Cameron Magashik in the sixth position, and Greg Johnson the last of the 7. So all just about gridded up, and we should be taking off just about now. So we'll get started pretty fast here.
Yeah, they're definitely on the charge here. I mean, one of the things that this new program, we pretty much run right through them there. And we always finish right on time around 7:30. So this is down to the minute now. They figured it out.
Yeah, they want to have as little downtime as possible. They want to get racing out there. So Dashilet coming in, being regrid down to that third position. What are we going to see out of him? Can Murphy try and hold them off? Or what will we see going down here as the pace truck will peel in? And it's going to be Murphy under control of the field until they reach the starting zone out of turn 11. So we had our first rollover. Thankfully, it took until heat number 2. Think we're going to get more on this one, Dave?
I think this is going to be a little bit different here. I mean, I'm expecting to see Tyson Miller get up there and get into the fight there. We've seen him do it. We know he can do it. Question is, can he fight his way through the crowd? Now, Trenton Briley, he is definitely going to be banging doors to Colin Murphy going into the turn on the start. I do believe this is going to be a little bit more physical in this race.
No doubt. So as they come out of the final corner, Colin Murphy is on it. Green flag is out, and he gets a very good jump over Briley. Dashilet might actually take second place away from him as well. Leans on him a little bit coming out of the first corner, gathers it back up. They're still hitting each other as they come into turn 2. They're going to have to get this settled soon.
It's allowing Colin Murphy, though, at this point, going, hey, guys, you fight it out behind me. I'll walk away with this, not a problem. But an incredible move by Dashilet. He didn't catch him sleeping on the line, that's for sure.
When Yeki is actually going to sneak through, he's going to move into P3 now. So Briley, unfortunately, going from second down to fourth, and we're not even done with the first lap.
Yeah, well, it's unfortunately, when you make a mistake early on like that, I think Briley should have been a little bit quicker on the response on the start. I think that's one of the issues there, and it happens to the best of them.
Interestingly, we did not get our seventh starter here on the grid, so it's only 6 taking part of it, which means half are advancing, half are going to be heading to the LCQ. A little bit of a look to the inside there from the 23 of Dashilet. Murphy rebuffs him. Ooh, and once again, that over-under just doesn't seem to work all that well through turn 10, as Nick was still trying it, and it's still not working.
Yeah, he's trying that setup each time. Unfortunately, it's, the definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over and getting the same results. So you're going to have to try and change it up.
Manages a slightly shorter inside line, and he's going to be able to get underneath Murphy. Shoves him out of the way.
Look at Winicky, though. He almost got a 2-for-1 there.
Was thinking about it. Ooh, he tries to cut back. He could have a good opportunity. He has a great opportunity. Side by side through the air, and he's on the inside line down into turn 6. It switches back into 7. Maybe a little bit too generous there on the inside.
Yeah, that's one thing about strategies and setting up for what turn you're going to be to the inside, because this is definitely a low-line track for sure.
So Winiecki's still in third position, still in a transfer spot, mind you. Briley behind him, not really threatening for the moment, but as we've seen, that can change oh so quickly around this track. And Winiecki seems to feel like he has the pace to try and get ahead of that number 09. As they come past the start-finish line once again, they go single file once more.
Yeah, you can definitely see that different drivers and different tracks have more success. And, unfortunately, I was hoping to see Tyson Miller up there again fighting with it. But right now, when Nicky gets a little wide there, and that could be a little bit of a problem as Briley starts to come up. Briley's not able to get down to the inside there, but it looks like Miller trying to make a move there. Briley looking to the outside.
Sticking with him, becoming a bit of a threat now. Like I said, it changes oh so fast around here. Cody, who looks comfortable last lap, suddenly might be sweating a little bit now with that number 17, who we ride on board with, gives him a hello from behind as they bound over the whoops and down into 7.
And you can see Briley trying to stay up the inside there, trying to slowly shove him out there. And you can see with Nicky not backing off, he'll turn down a little bit, trying to hold that line here. But unfortunately, he kept it on the outside or inside too long, which set him out not in the right position for that right-hander.
Hard but fair stuff between the pair of them. Briley's going to have to try something else because that one's not working, and we're now halfway through this race. So as they exit out of 11 and into 12, behind Briley also, let's not forget, Tyson Miller, who you mentioned we expected to be a little bit farther up there, looks like he's starting to get that truck under control now. Well, as soon as I say that, he dips tires in the grass.
He's trying to find his groove. Let's just say that.
Yeah, I think that's a good way to put it. As they come out of 3 now, down towards turn 4, and still it is nose astern from 3rd, 4th, and 5th. They have definitely dropped Magashik back there. He seems to be lacking pace in this one, so not sure that he's going to be a factor here in these last couple laps, but we'll see as they once again head through turn 6.
Yeah, it looks like Winecki's getting a little bit of a still hounding by Briley, trying to get into that final qualifying positions with 3 laps to go here. Starting to run out of time. He's still got a little bit of time here. And it's little things like that, little mistake and settle the truck, but Winecki was able to cover him up. But it did throw his rhythm off there because Briley was trying to go the inside again.
I just realized I'm pretty sure Cody has our broadcast up on a second screen up there, so he's keeping tabs on it. I don't know if you can hear us, Cody, but I hope it's been just as entertaining as he crosses the line, and it's now down to 2 to go.
Well, it's actually kind of smart. You can see if there's any other lines you haven't thought about, any other places on the track where you might be able to force him to stake out of the driver in front of you to get a pass there. So not a bad strategy.
See, I just don't get how drivers can have the attention span to both be racing at 100% and watch what's happening on that broadcast. I have to be one or the other. I can't do both.
Well, you know what? Kids today, boy, they can multitask like with the best of them.
Exactly. Well, Cody Winecki is trying to multitask, watching that broadcast, racing his race, and defending Trenton Briley. And so far, he's successful. Trenton's still stuck there in P4, but he's been working on it. He's been getting his nose in. He's been kind of just nudging him here and there, but nothing that's completely shoved him off the line as soon as I say it. He really gives him a hard kick, and thankfully they carry on. But Winecki, if he didn't know he was there, now he does.
Yeah, definitely. It was very courtesy of Briley thinking, going, you know what, if I change the position, it's not going to do me well anyways. The race officials are not going to like that.
The race officials have put out the white flag. 1 to go now. It is still Dashiellette up at the top spot, Murphy in second, and we've been following Winecki and Briley back there in 3rd and 4th. Briley backing off a little bit here. Is he trying to recover for a moment to set himself up for late charge? Or is he fallen off severely and doesn't have enough left? We'll see soon enough. He does look like he's encroaching once again, and then they break down into turn 6. That's really the last heavy braking zone that they have. It's all going to be slower corners from here on out.
Yeah, at race pace, you're not going to sit back and try and get a run on this, that's for sure. These guys are turning up so many quick laps right now. You got to stay on the entire time. You got to apply the pressure. You got to be there if there is a chance to make a pass.
Back into turn 9 once again. Slow, long hairpin as it switches back, and then 3 left-handers in a row all the way to the checkered flag from here. Doesn't look close enough to me. Up at the front of them, Dashiellette is going to take the win as Murphy is second, and Winecki came very close to losing it there, Dave.
Yeah, I saw that. Briley came in a little hot there, though he did back off, and Winecki was able to collect himself and come across and still qualify there. But fortunately, everybody else from P4 down going to the last chance qualifier.
Yep, that'll be Briley, Miller, and Magashik who get sent to that LCQ. So let's head to the grid for heat number 4 now. Keith Jeffrey on the pole position. Christopher Plumley will be starting to his outside. Keaton Swane, who's second in the points, who needs to try and beat Connor Berry today, going to be starting from 3rd on this grid. Dennis Mickelson will be P4, John Binder in 5th, and Paul Mikolajic in 7th. Daniel Aish is going to be P7 and last of this group. Okay, then. Here we go for one last time for the heats. After this, it'll be quite literally to the last chance for everybody in this heat. Love that overhead view of this track. Just gives you a sense of kind of the unique surroundings and layout and topography of this circuit.
Yeah, definitely. It is some beautiful God's country up there on the Upper Peninsula there. It's one of my favorite places to go up. Summertime, absolutely gorgeous. And some of the greatest fans next to Crandon in that area. Bark River is a religion in that area as well as Crandon.
Yeah, I can imagine. I feel like if I was close enough to a track like this, I definitely would be going to any sort of race that they have, because this just looks so cool as they come into turn 9 and switch back around once again. This track really weaves in and out of itself. You can see how close it gets to some parts where there's almost no runoff to the outside, and they have to place those K-rails to make sure that nobody winds up into each other. But let's hope that we don't have anything like that as they get the green flag. And Keith Jeffrey is going to be good off the line. Chris Plumley now being challenged by Swane, who wants that second position. He wants to be safer here. He's not going to get it, though.
And it looks like Swane's going to go a little bit wide there on the outside of Plumley, but not going to be able to make a move. Plumley goes outside, keeps that speed up. Can he make the pass now on Jeffrey? Jeffrey just going to line back up in here, going to have 3 nose to tail. Actually, 4 of these guys are real close together now, and it looks like we got a battle back there for 5th going on, too.
Then you got John Binder with that Dale Jr. fit going on as he tries to get to the inside of Keaton Swane, but no dice. Swane, though, absolutely shoves Plumley out of the way. That purple car goes way wide, but recovers back into 3rd.
And you got to wonder, though, if there's going to be a little bit of payback for that one. He goes, all right, I saw what you did there, but look at this behind him. It looks like Binder trying to apply the pressure now to Plumley.
Yeah, he wants to demote him 2 in 1 lap. He gives him a little nudge. It wasn't as rude, though, as his cohort. In fact, he gets a little bit of it himself from Mickelson, who goes down his inside and tries to take that spot away. They're leaning on each other now as they come out of the final turn.
And that's what I always talk about, clean racing like that, door to door, side to side. You're banging elbows, basically. And that's what you want to see. You don't want to see anybody change the attitude or the direction of the truck in front of them. You want to see door to door contact. That's what racing about. Rubbing's racing, especially in off-road.
And Mickelson is going to make it a position as well as racing. He's up to P4, Binder down into 5th. But they've lost touch with those top 3 because of all that hard racing. So they're going to have to try to get back into it as they once again switch sides down into turn 6. Plumley did not appreciate that from Swane, but he's not close enough. Swane now focusing forward on Keith Jeffrey, our leader.
Yeah, Swane's already forgot about the incident there. It was nothing where it took out Plumley. I think it was just a racing incident there, fighting for position. But Jeffrey, some good lines right now. That's why I talk about getting out front. You set the pace of the race. You set your lines. You own that first position. It's everyone else's job to try and get around you. If you make a mistake, that's on you. And like this.
Ooh, yeah, it left it just barely open, and Swane was not able to capitalize completely, but was trying his darndest. We're on board with Keaton coming down back into turn 2. Look at how they have to leap into that corner and immediately switch sides and try to get it to turn in through a long corner. Once again, just kind of nudging the side of the number 88. He's going to back out by the time they get to 4. Whoa, he took too much inside berm. Can he hold on to it? He somehow keeps it together.
Man, incredible reaction there, how he kept it back down. Started to go on the bicycle, brings it back down. We're going to take another look and see how this unfolded.
I've seen so many cars get rolled by that same move into there. I can't believe he's still on it.
Oh.
Look at that.
Man, we saw that a couple earlier, but nothing to that degree has that thrown anybody up out of shape like that, but it's incredible that Swane was able to keep it back down.
I mean, speaking of Earnhardt, that was passing the grass type stuff right there. So he'll carry on, but he's lost some ground to Jeffrey because of it. So Plumley's now back on his tail, ready to try to wreak revenge on him. But we'll see if he's able to get that opportunity. They are basically in a line, nobody trying anything for the time being as they've hit the halfway mark.
Yeah, I think, Swane cut his teeth in mod carts. He did a lot of time in buggies. So he knows how to drive clean. He knows how to get in there and go kind of wheel to wheel, door to door without having contact too hard. So he's going to look for a clean time and see if he can get by Jeffrey. But I think he's off the pace just a little bit now. He's got to settle back down. It's in his head. 3 to go as they go by the stripe one more time.
Down into 6.
It's looking a little bit calm, at least for the time being. Haven't seen many passes as we're going to hop on board with Mickelson. He got his way up to 4th. I'm sure he'd love to try and take P3, get that advancing spot, but can't seem to touch Chris Plumlee for the time being.
And Plumlee's trying to get it back up in the fight there. They're getting really close to each other. With only a couple laps to go after this, we're going to see that 2 laps to go come up here real quick.
Absolutely. Back down through 11 and 12. Once again, a little wide there for Keaton Swane, but it seems to work out decently. He ducks down to the inside of the first corner, doesn't give him anything. Up over the jump now and into 2. Going to look to the inside one more time, but cannot find that overlap with him and just drifts on out. So Keaton Swane, as he flies it, let's hope successfully here through 4 and 5. Yep, that one a lot better. Ooh, this is a very good run, though. Look at this. He could do it into 6.
Yeah, definitely. And it was amazing how he changed his lineup, got outside, kept the momentum going. But Swane now looking low. Problem is, we're going to go in that left-hander again. He's going to have to try and switch it up. But he's not going to go the long way around in this time.
A little bit of a blink of a connection issue. And yeah, Jeffrey just feeds in front of him briefly there out of turn 7. But the closer he gets, the more nerve-wracking this has got to be. He is very tidy down to that inside line, but it's a bit too slow. Once again, blinking internet connection, proving a bit of a bane. Let's hope that it holds out. It just needs it to stick with him for one more lap as he looks to the inside.
Yeah, he's definitely trying to have to just kind of delegate to that second spot as he go across the white flag. Now he's got to pick his spot again to try and get a run in another pass there. He pretty much knows, all right, we got the last lap. I know where I can get close to him. Now see if I can make it stick this time.
Last time he squared off the exit of 3 very, very well. I'm not seeing that this time, though.
No.
So maybe not the same heroics down at his 6, or maybe he will. He's right on top of him, almost pushing him over the jump. And as they fly down into turn 6, he's going to give it a look. But based on what we saw last time, I'm just not seeing it. He tries to cut back underneath. Oh, there it is. There it is. He's almost got the slide job. He's pushed onto the grass practically.
Well, he was on that grass all the way. He got pushed in there. He tried to go to that inside line. And look at that. Gets on the bicycle coming across.
And the car,
incredible.
Blinking constantly. Normally that is horrible news for everybody. I can't believe they haven't had some sort of crazy netcode incident out of it. Oh, just to the inside of the 88, and he starts to lose control. Plumlee's going to get underneath him, and I think Plumlee might get that second place away at the last moment. Jeffrey will take the win. Swane recovers for a P2. Plumlee into 3rd as Mickelson tumbles across the line. He'll be the last driver, first one not to make it, rather, and behind him, it's going to be Binder in 5th, Aish in 6th, and Plumlee actually demoted to 7th. So Mickelson gets bumped up to 3rd. Not sure what happened after there. So
not sure either.
I believe this is going to take us to a break. We'll try to untangle that. But in the meantime, we'll be back after a word.
Whatever you do, General Tire delivers.
Welcome back to Bark River International Raceway, where we're watching round 9 of the 2023 General Tire National Series. And it's going to be the C-Main here, the first of the LCQs that we're watching. And Jacob Raffis, shockingly, is having to take part after he took the quickest qualifying time. But Trenton Briley will start next to him, and Zach Drapkin will be third. So he's surrounded by good company. Tyson Miller will be fourth, and Scott Kerr starts fifth. Then it's Cameron Magashik, P6, Ryan Lidner in seventh, and Greg Johnson I'm seeing gridded up for eighth, but he is not out on the track. Again, it is the top three, Dave, that will advance through, but this time there's just that little bit more urgency underneath them.
You got 2 laps less, and you got 6 miles to make it happen.
So will guys at the back that are starting below that marker be able to work their way up? This time it really is 4 laps. So I can see in the simulator it's giving us a confirmed 4 this time. So that is correct. So as Dave mentioned, it's going to be shorter. And one thing that we haven't mentioned, look at the track. You can definitely see a blue groove start to come in there, especially at the end of this corner here. So I'm wondering if that bottom line is going to work a little bit less and less if anybody does try to get underneath you.
Well, you're not going to slide as much on a blue groove. You're going to get a little bit more traction. So you also got to be a little bit careful there too. Getting up on the bike, changing, the truck's not going to step out as easy, and it could cause you to get on the bike. Could cause more mistakes as the tracks start to deteriorate.
All right, as they come around the last few corners now, looking for Raffis to take control. He will not want to end his night early, so green flag is out, and it's a good start for him. We've seen second place try to take, or third place try to take second many times, but that's not the case this time, as Briley is not challenged by Drapkin, but behind them, fourth place for Miller. Oh, is the lead nearly changing hands. Briley underneath Raffis and a car over. Scott Kerr gets rolled.
And it looks like a good battle between Raffis. The little pirouette there by Scott Kerr ends up in his turtle position.
Oof. Unfortunately, I don't think that's going to be a yoga position he'll want to remember. So
No.
As they come back around turn 6, Raffis was able to hold off Briley. Drapkin is still in P3, but they're 1 car less now out there on the circuit. It's only down to 6 of them unless something crazy happens and Kerr can take up a whole bunch of spots here. We're going to watch them weave their way through 8 and into 9 now. Briley looks like he wants to try and do something to Jacob, but how hard does he want to fight this, knowing that he is going to get through to the main?
Yeah, that's the big thing right there. It's like kind of sometimes you got to suck it up. You're going to do one position's not going to put you in a better starting position into the main event. You're in the back. You're going to be fighting the whole time. Think about qualifying. That's all you got to keep in your head when you're in LCQ. Don't make mistakes. I used to say, don't screw up.
Yeah, get
was
that
my PG.
they got to get that passing grade is all. If you get that D+, you're good. So as long as he is in that second position, he is okay. Behind him does look like Drapkin needs to be a bit concerned about Miller because he's starting to gather him back up. And that is on the bubble there in that third spot. In fact, he takes a lot of the inside berm. Drapkin is definitely looking maybe a little too far behind as that mistake opens the door for Miller going the long way around of turn 7. Not enough grip, though.
Yeah, he got out into the marbles, and it's a little loamy out there. The loose dirt on top does not give you traction.
Yeah, just a little too slow, unfortunately. Another little look down to the inside of turn 9. It switches back once again, and then down into the triple left-hander here as it brings many apexes one after another until you cross the start-finish line and start anew. We're already halfway through the race.
Yeah, the best advice I'd give Scott Drapkin right now would be just to forget about the driver behind you. Look forward, hit your lines, hit your marks. You can see Miller's going the long way, on the outside. He gets in the marbles. Don't make mistakes like that. That's what you got to kind of get that mantra going. And it's hard to see when you got somebody filling your mirror and just kind of handing you back there. Sometimes you got to forget about them.
Tear it off and throw it out the window. But
Yep.
right now, Tyson Miller's still filling it at every corner. Very different lines between them. He is trying to do things slightly different. He's trying to see if he can just make something happen out there. But when they hit the line this time by, it's going to be 1 to go for these drivers as it swings back once again into turn 9. That's way too far away, though, for Tyson Miller. He's going to have to be tucked right underneath that truck.
Yeah, he's definitely going to have to get down and start looking to the inside there, trying to almost force the issue. He wants to get there to that qualifying position. But Drapkin, he's going to now just going to keep that, tires on the inside. Keep it up on the curb. Keep it up on the curb.
Up and over the jump of 2, or turn 1 rather, and then back into 2. It seems like Miller might be losing out. Oh, he goes way, way out into the marbles. That's not going to be helpful, although he does square it off pretty well, but just not enough traction for him coming off the turn. And so he's going to have to do something desperate here at the end, or else this is going to be the night over as they fly over the camera down into turn 6. Up at the front, we haven't talked about him, but Raffis still leads.
And Briley's still in tow there, trying to get up a little bit speed there. Oh, no! Yeah,
Miller's
big
out of
mistake
it.
there. Miller just went off the end. Drapkin now is going to have a little bit of breathing room right now. You can pretty much, easy sail into the checkered flag.
Yeah, I mean, he literally flew off into the trees there. So here we go for Jacob Raffis. He's going to fly away himself, but taking a last chance qualifier win. Didn't have the best of heat races. He's going to keep his hopes alive. Briley will finish second. Drapkin will take third. And for Magashik, Lindner, and Miller, as well as Kerr, that's it. They are done. Drapkin excited about that one, knowing that he gets to keep racing here tonight, which now takes us to the second of our last chance qualifiers. Truly the last of the last chance qualifiers. Mason Prater is on the pole for this one. Paul Mikulajic will be second, and Bryce Simoneau will be third. Then it's John Binder in fourth position. Tom Grady starting fifth, Daniel Asian sixth, and Eric Whitner seventh. Christopher Plumley starts P8, and Oliver Golding ninth. By the way, from what we could infer, and we're not sure that this is accurate, Plumley must have gotten a cut course penalty, which caused him to check up at the end, but he did not serve it enough, and so he was given a post-race time penalty, which is what put him down out of the transfer position. So Chris Plumley is not here when he planned on it. What's he going to do from the back of the field?
Ooh, that's a rough position to be in. I don't care how good of a driver you are. You got a lot of trucks to fight through, and with the speeds these guys are going, guys like, you got Prater and Semino in there. He's quick, for sure. Those two, it's going to be anyone's guess who's going to get third on this. But I'm pretty much predicting right now we're going to see a battle up there with Semino and Prater. But Mikulajic, he's in a good spot right now.
I'll be honest. I know Plumley's probably not happy about this, but Plumley's been a spicy character all season. I'm looking forward to see him try to charge through this.
It could be the spicy Plum at this point.
I like that. Well, coming back around here through turn 9, Prater just shy. He is definitely going to try and redeem himself as well. What about Nikolajic starting next to him? Could he try and shock him? Take that lead away at the start with a good run. Once we get that green flag, it is up to the 50 to decide when he goes, though. So he's going to make it difficult for the 177. And there it is. Green flag is out. Not the greatest of starts, but as he accelerates away, Prater is clear. Semino now down to the inside through turn 1 as they leap into the air. But I don't think he has enough for now. We'll carry it on into turn 2.
And see if Mikulajic can kind of hold it on. A great shot out there, though. He goes a little wide there. It looks like Semino trying to look to the inside, a little bit of contact there. Semino gets out of shape there, and you can see Grady with a little contact. They're bunching up in the back now. Plumley trying to make a run. I may have smoked. You may have been right. He might be a little spicy.
Yeah, he's up to 6th already. We're halfway through the first lap, but a track that it's known for being tough to overtake. Make that 5th, maybe. Aish, almost the next victim, but he's able to fend him off. Now Semino gets a little out of shape. He's going to fall down as Tom Grady moves up into the transfer position. Plumley trying around the outside. Can he actually do this the long way around? I think he's got it.
I think Aish got a little out of shape going in that turn there, and it looks like Plumley was able to make it stick that time. Now he's just up another spot there. Now he's got Semino and Grady to keep an eye on. Semino is going to be tough. And there's what I'm talking about, tough. Semino said, I'm just going to give you that little gator tail.
And that sends him all the way to the back. So lap 1, he passed about 4 cars, and then they got passed right back right before the finish line. So here he's got to do it all over again, and everybody's going to be wise to his tricks this time. Prater, by the way, a second and a half up in the lead. He said goodbye.
And how about Paul Mikulajic? I'm just impressed right now. He's keeping up a good pace there. Tom Grady trying to get up there and apply the pressure, but Mikulajic has a good little gap, about 4 truck lengths in between him and third place. And where is Semino? He's going to start charging up there, trying to get up onto Grady. Let's see if it's going to happen.
Yeah, that gator has been looming, and unfortunately for Grady, he's been willing to get his elbows out. We're checking out Semino now as we ride on board with that bright green machine into 8 and 9, switching back here through the hairpin. Grady taking a poke underneath Mikulajic. Doesn't quite work out for now. And Plumley was, I just saw off the course or something. I think he got into the side of Whitner, and that kind of pushed him into the grass. So Plumley's trying to get back into it, but he's not having as much success this time around.
He did make it up to P7, but one thing I'm keeping an eye on right now, Bryce Semino trying to get up there, get some speed to get into the fight there with Grady. Now remember, a gator is an ambush predator. I think Semino is going to get up there and get real sneaky on him.
He's a little out of home territory, though, up here way in Michigan. I think they're cold-blooded, too, aren't they?
Yeah, it's summertime, though, in Michigan. Just us, Kid Rock.
There we go. As we come down into 6 and back into 7, once again, Bryce Semino has already recovered behind him. My goodness, all kinds of battling between Aish and the likes of Whitner, which is going to allow Plumley to get to the inside of them. We can't quite see it on the screen, but Plumley just about had a 2-for-1 through turn 7.
And Plumley trying to make a move, and Whitner gets on the bicycle, goes wide again. When you're back there fighting, he goes all the way back to the end of tail again.
Well, Plum or not, I think today is a punching bag, unfortunately. He's just been kind of roughed out of the way twice in this race, and that's the white flag. Last lap to do it, he has to make up all 4 positions once again. He's back at the back of the field once more.
Oh, he did get by Binder for a second, and now Plumley can see if he can make it stick there. I think just watching where Plumley after this great. But how about Mikulajic? I am just so impressed. He has been a punching bag in the back quite a few times himself, and it's great to see him up there and hopefully going to make the main event. Prater, pretty much 2.3, 2.5 seconds ahead already. It's a no-brainer for him.
Yeah, absolutely. And yeah, Paul here has just been running a nice smooth race. Grady's been pressuring him a little bit, hasn't managed to get inside of him too many times. And then Semino just doesn't seem to have the pace here as we're riding on board with him. Look at that, riding one-handed, one on the shifter. And there's a look. That's what we're trying to see if that would happen with Tom Grady going for the over-under ahead of them, already heading to the finish line. Mason Prater with a dominant win in the last chance qualifier. Mikulajic transfers from second. Grady from third. Semino is just outside the window. Unfortunately, Whitner will finish in fifth, not going to the feature. Plumley as well at least gets up to 6, but that's little comfort as it's going to be Aish behind him, and then Binder and Golding. The last of your drivers not seeing the feature. We'll be back with more racing, so don't go away. Stick around after these commercials. It's the feature race.
Whatever you do, General Tire delivers.
Welcome back to Bark River International Raceway. Round 9 for the 2023 General Tire National Series is go for the feature race. And Keith Jeffrey will start on the pole. Nicholas Dachelet will be starting in P2 as Parker Retzlaff, our winner for the feature last time out, will start from third. Connor Berry, current reigning champion and points leader of this season, will start from fourth. Cody Retzlaff will be P5. He'll be followed by Felix Roy in 6th. Then in row 4, it's Colin Murphy starting 7th. And sitting second in the points, Keaton Swane will start 8th. He's got some work to do there. Sean Winkler will be P9, and Jarrett Liebert rounds out your top 10. From there, it's Cody Wieniecki starting in 11th. Dennis Mickelson will be P12, and Jacob Raffis will start from 13th. Mason Prater, also in from the last chance qualifiers, will start 14th, and Trenton Briley 15th. Paul Mikolajic in 16th today. We need to check and see if that's his first ever feature that he's made this season, because we're not quite sure if that is the case, but if so, congratulations. Zach Drapkin will start from 17th, and Tom Grady will be tail end Charlie on the field as they take off for the pace lap.
Yeah, it would be really cool. I would like to know. I'd like to see some of the stats on that. But it's great when you see drivers start to progress and finally get in there and get in the fight and be part of the main event.
Absolutely. And the progression, that is what I love to see. I love when the drivers who are the back of the pack suddenly become mid-pack, and the mid-pack become front-runner contenders. And those that are just fighting for podiums suddenly find themselves managing to sneak those wins in. We've certainly had that progression out here in recent seasons. Many of the drivers have talked about just how fast many out here have gotten. And I think as iRacing, the simulator, continues to grow, it's bringing in more and more talent, making it that much harder to do like Barry has done in the past with his domination.
And so many drivers from different disciplines that are coming into and discovering the off-road and how much fun short course off-road is actually. So it's great to see. You can see the pace getting ready to get started up here. You see Jeffrey, Dachelet, Ratzliff, Berry, and Ratzliff. Look at this.
Green flag is out. Wasn't the greatest of starts from Jeffrey there. Almost lost the lead. And behind him, Parker Retzlaff now coming up the inside of Dachelet as they swing back into turn 2. The biggest field that we're going to see here into this corner. There's a lot of lines you can take, but not everybody's going to have a fast one. Big challenge for the lead once again. Parker Retzlaff versus Keith Jeffrey side by side, down through 4 and 5, and I think Retzlaff has got it.
Yeah, you can see a great move there. You can see Dachelet was trying to follow suit there. So he moves into second. Barry now into third. And Jeffrey all the way back to 4th, getting shuffled in there. Boy, not even in one lap in. And we've had 3 position changes.
Wow, 3 wide down here between 6 and 7, and more beating and banging for P2 as Dachelet, Barry, and Jeffrey still sorting it out. Poor Keith Jeffrey down 3 spots and rolls over on top of it. Can he keep it right side up? He does. We don't know what damage the car has, but he falls to the back of the field.
Yeah, he clipped that inside. Again, we've seen so many drivers do that, and so, twice it's bitten drivers tonight.
So there you see, up and over the crest. Yeah,
right there.
Just a little too over-eager.
Unfortunately, you don't climb walls very well and stay on 2 wheels and win a race.
Oh, and Trenton Briley has just had a problem. Oh, he got bumped into the concrete barriers that protects the little the advertising board there atop the start-finish line. So unfortunately, that was a hard hit for him and sends him to the back. But we're watching the leaders with Retzlaff ahead of Dachelet and Barry, your top 3 currently. Now, the good news is they've got that competition caution, and they also have a spare truck waiting for them. So if Briley has damage from that, he should hopefully be able to get back into it in the second half.
Yeah, that's just kind of crazy when you get the damage there. It actually takes into real life how there's issues that happen. Just like going in for a pit stop, a couple of tire changes, you know, maybe rip a hood off sometimes they would do. So you never know. It's nice to have a fresh truck, though.
Absolutely. That is the one saving grace. It's such a rough and tumble style of racing. I kind of don't blame him for having that available as Barry chucks it into turn 10 there, trying to see if he can get underneath Dashalet, but no dice quite yet. He knows that they're going to stack back up here once they have that competition caution. They're already on lap 3, so it's not going to take very long. As we come back to Keaton Swane, the man trying to chase Connor in the points, but still stuck in 6th.
Yeah, it's a tough one back there for sure, being back in 6th position right now and having Barry, 3 positions in front of him, knowing that he was only 10 points off coming into this round. Though this battle's still not over, so anything's possible. We've got a lot of laps. We're only 3 laps into 12.
Yep, plenty left to go, no doubt. Way out into the grass there briefly for Keaton Swane, nearly touching his back fender into the K-rail as it switches back. And in front of them, we can see some nudging from Swane, but also I think Barry has managed to push Dashalet out of the way.
Yeah, it looks like Barry's going to have that inside line coming around there. He's going to try and fill the hole coming into this right-hander, and he does. Dashalet, though, right on the back bumper, on his porch, trying to kick the back door in.
Can't quite make it stick. So Connor Barry up into 2nd. That's not what Parker Retzlaff wanted to see. He's already stretched away, but he knows that gap, as we've mentioned, is going to disappear pretty soon. So Parker is going to have to restart with the multi-time champion breathing down his neck.
Well, that's right. I think after lap 5, we're going to throw that comp caution, re-rack, restack, and get that new race underway.
Yeah.
It's going to change everything.
And again, I feel like that 31 did not want to see that happen. He wanted that buffer that Nicholas was providing to him between him and one of his big rivals for the wins so far this season. Not a points rival, but still could steal those away from him with how tight it's gotten up at the top. Meanwhile, down through 6 here, you can see the 525 being chased by the 21. And Mason Prater as well, just behind them, with Jarrett Liebert trying to fight his way forward, just ducking underneath him down through 7, but nothing doing for the time being. Not going to see it. Remember, it's not at the start here of this lap 5 coming up. It's going to be at the end of the lap when they're going to throw that out.
Yeah, that is correct. That would only be 4 laps complete. You got to get 5 laps complete before we do that. Now, one of the great things about, having this, back in the core days when they established the competition caution, because sometimes you would get a driver who would start to run away. Well, you change it up, you group them back together, you bring a lot of excitement to the fans and the crowd, and that's what these guys are doing right now. I think it really makes for a good, interesting race.
Yeah, so I suppose first half is for track position, second half is for all the marbles, you could say.
How true is that? That's for sure. But some great running, though. Ratzlaff out front, Barry up in that 2nd position, and poor Swane, he's back in 6th. That's one of the things I talked about. You really need a good qualifying. You need a good heat race to get into this main event, and that's going to establish position. If you're that deep with this many trucks, it's a fight. There's so many talented drivers in the back of the pack right now that are just fighting back there, basically spinning their wheels because they can't get around some of these drivers. Like you said, they're close in talent.
Exactly. And we were just watching Rafis for a long time there. Fastest car in qualifying. And yet here he sits in 7th place. That's after he's already passed 6 trucks in this race.
I know, that's incredible there. And, when he's getting up to the faster guys, he's right behind Swane right now. So it's going to be interesting.
There's the caution. So they're slowing him up. Nobody is a lap down from what I can see. Trenton Briley did duck into pit lane, so he's kind of preemptively taking that spare truck. That was probably a smart move on his part. That's going to shorten our caution by quite a bit here. So you can see they're kind of parking it on the outside of turn 2, but they're going to get in a single file line here momentarily before they get going. There's Briley trying to play catch up.
Briley coming around, and Briley comes from a big motorsports family, so it's great to see him still out doing this.
So Trenton, let's hope he knows where they're parked, because they don't want to see him run into the back of the field here. I have seen that. Yeah.
Oh, there they are coming up. No, that's what.
Yeah, he's aware. He's slowing down and taking a sip of refreshment, shall we call it?
A barley pop.
Yeah, there we go. Well, all right. So this is going to be a short caution. They will just go behind the leader of Parker Retzlaff in a single file line until they get to the restart zone, and then they will take off. It should be green all the way to the end of the 12 laps.
And it's going to be interesting to see if it's going to stay green, though, because I think the gloves are coming off. We've only got one more round to decide a championship after this one. So every point, every position matters, especially with Barry sitting in that second position. I expect to see Swane, even Raffis make some move.
Well, and Raffis is trying to catch Swane in the points. He's a little bit farther away, so he's going to be eager to try and overtake on Swane, who's directly in front of him on this restart, whereas Swane needs to pass 4 cars to get to Barry here, and that's just to catch him, let alone pass him, which he really needs to do to set himself up well for the final race in the points hunt. There's the green flag as they are off on their way. Parker Retzlaff leads them down into turn 9. Barry's going to try and solidify an even better finish and prevent Retzlaff from going back-to-back.
Yeah, I know. We've seen this before with Barry and Parker. I mean, both of these real-life race car drivers also accelerate the sims here. They pretty much know where all these positions where you're going to try and make a move. Can Barry force Parker into a mistake? That's going to be the big question right now. Or is, he's going to leave a little daylight and make a mistake like that himself.
And those fans coming in from an oval background, yes, that is Parker Retzlaff from the Xfinity Series. Oh, someone way into the grass, all 4 wheels into it. They carry on, and it's quite the melee there at the back of the pack.
Well, that's what I said. The second half of the race, it's going to get physical here. It's almost going to be like an LCQ fighting for positions back there.
Up at the front of this train right now, it is Mason Prater leading just basically a slew of trucks. Murphy, Winkler, Drapkin, Grady, Liebert basically pick a position. They're all swapping them every time you look as they come around the corner. Oh, yeah, lead battle for that top spot. Good catch there, Dave, as Barry takes a bit of a poke on Parker Retzlaff. Doesn't make it stick, though. He's got a lot of laps left to try and make it happen.
And we can see Connor on screen right now looking pretty calm, trying to get into his groove. He knows in his head, Swane's out there. He doesn't need to win this race. He just needs to keep Swane with a couple cars in between him. But I think Swane's getting a little frustrated. Cody Ratzlaff, hard to catch for him right now. You can see Swane is off the pace just a little bit.
Yeah, Swane's been having a rough day, unfortunately. Not looking like he's going to be able to podium twice. By the way, Tom Grady got into an accident and the engine is damaged, so I think his night's pretty much over. He's kind of trundling around, seeing if he could maybe take it to the checkered flag from here. But as they land out of the big jump and down into turn 6, Barry has backed off, or has Retzlaff kicked it up a notch?
Yeah, that's what I always wonder there. We see Barry, usually he's the second half of the drive, second half of the race driver. The truck's set up for it. Early on, he pretty much, like you said, we set the positions. Now let's go for the win. But for some reason, this setup not really excelling as much as I thought it would be for Barry in the second half. Parker looking a little quicker.
Yeah, and we've already seen, yes, it was bad luck at the start, so we didn't get a fair fight there between Connor and Parker back at Crandon. But still, Parker responded and took his second official win of the season. Could have had more of them. Unfortunately, a penalty stripped him of one of them in the very first round. So a man who's finished first on the road 3 times so far this season, trying to make it a fourth here, and honestly looking like he's well in control after this lap.
Yeah, I think he's actually gotten a little bit faster. There's a little bit of a gap there, with them. And I can see Connor's got those General Tires just trying to dig, trying to catch back up there.
He wants to get back on him and try to threaten. He had a brief hint of it and maybe thought that he could do something, but no, it's starting to slip away. And he's going to have to try and encroach on that back bumper a little bit more if he hopes to get an overtake done. Otherwise, he's got to look for the very rare mistake out of Parker Retzlaff here in these last few laps. Going to be 3 to go when they cross the line here in just a few moments. Swane and Raffis, by the way, have not changed position. They're still 6th and 7th, respectively.
Yeah, that Funkaway machine out front, though, is looking rather flawless. Parker is just hitting every line flawlessly right now. And, the crazy thing is, you can see Parker's lines versus Connor lines. They're very similar, but just little nuances of differences right there. That was pretty much a mirrored image right there of how they both hit that a little bit wide. But they kept the speed up there.
Exactly, and they looked like they squared it off very well as well. So yeah, just amazes me the savviness that these two have about how to find speed in these trucks around these tracks as they swing it around turn 6. A couple of whoops here before they have to try and immediately turn it now into turn 7. Behind them, I think third place might actually be up for grabs a little bit. Dashilet and Felix Roy getting a little bit close to one another. So that could be a bit of drama here in just a moment. And then behind them, Keaton Swane now has Cody Retzlaff on the ropes as well.
Yeah, and Cody's not going to make it easy for him. You can see him just keeping that rear end wagon in front of him there. He puts it out. He gets to rotate there. Oh, he kind of blew that corner there. And it looks like he's going to go wide, but I think Swane, unfortunately, could not capitalize on that point. And a great line by Cody Retzlaff. Let's take a look and see exactly what happened. I think Swane made a little bit of a mistake there.
Yeah, I think maybe he got pinched down a little farther than he wanted to be. Try to make a go at it. Oof, and actually almost pushed Cody rather, into the barrier there on the outside.
Yeah, I can tell you right now, Felix Roy sitting there, in front of these two guys. They got their eyes set on him, but behind him, Rafa is still trying to get in the fight. I think he wants to get up there with those boys and play a little bit. There, you can see Rafa hangs it out too.
There was a better look at that contact with the wall. 2 laps to go. Going to be 1 to go pretty soon as we're 3 wide coming off of turn 7. And that was good stuff there coming out of Rafis, Retzlaff, and Swane. Cody trying to shove Swane out of the way. And that's going to be Jacob Rafis saying, thank you, that's all I needed.
And it looks like Swane's going to look back to the inside there, take that position back from Rafis as these two start to go door to door there. Rafis going the long way on the outside, rubbing the wall. Swane not backing off at all, but Rafis will have that inside line. He'll take that position and he'll establish it.
Wow, fought hard for Jacob Rafis to get P6 there, and that's just to try and catch second in the points. It'll make some inroads, not a lot, but it could be critical. Ahead of them, Retzlaff has taken the white flag, 1 to go, and he is clear by just about 3/4 of a second.
Yeah, absolutely a great race right now, and kind of bummed I'm not going to be able to make the final round, especially while this was starting to shape up there. Barry and Retzlaff, I think, will battle. Hopefully Retzlaff, or at least Parker Retzlaff, will be in the last round. I'm a little heartbroken for Swane because I wanted to see him up there. He was so close in points, but Dashilet's running a great race in third. But Retzlaff and Barry pretty much walking away with this one.
Yeah, Parker and Connor are proving to be quite the rivals here in this series. A stark contrast to last season where Connor kind of ran away with things a number of times. But this time out, Parker Retzlaff goes back-to-back, and he is going to win here at Bark River. Connor Barry minimizes the damage with a second place, collecting valuable points as Dashilet will grab the last step on the podium.
Yeah, Dashilet really made a good run for it. I know he was really fighting through those heat races to get in there, but incredible to see how it all shook out here. And Swane, unfortunately, not going to be on the box. Mr. Consistency is stepped down.
Yeah, that's going to make it very difficult for him to take the title at the last round for sure. I believe we are going to take a quick break. We'll be back with the unofficial results as well as driver interviews, so stick around.
whatever you do, General Tire delivers.
Welcome back to Bark River International Raceway. The feature race saw Parker Retzlaff take the win as Connor Berry followed him home about a half second behind. Just could not seem to get by that 31 or challenge him, especially in the last couple laps. Nicholas Dachelet with a bit of a quiet third for him as Felix Roy, for a brief moment, was kind of becoming threatening, but then backed off himself, taking fourth place. Cody Retzlaff, a top five, was ahead of Jacob Raffis, who, despite being the fastest qualifier, had a bit of a bad heat race, and that just kind of set the tone. We heard Dave talking about it. If you don't get those heat races down, it makes the rest of the night difficult, and he had to settle for sixth. Keaton Swane, though, was behind him, so Jacob takes valuable points in the championship towards Keaton, who finished P7. And then Prater was eighth tonight as Sean Winkler finished ninth, and Colin Murphy rounds out your top 10. From there, Zach Drapkin was P11 as Jarrett Liebert was 12th and Trenton Briley 13th. Then Dennis Mickelson finished P14 and Keith Jeffrey in 15th. Tom Grady was the last one to finish on the lead lap, Mika Logic, and Wieniecki 2 laps down with damage, unfortunately, in this race, had a bit of a bad day. I believe we've got Parker ready to talk to us, so let's take a chat with the number 31 to see how he feels about how that race went this evening, because it certainly looked like he had himself not an easy time, but certainly a time that was in control up at the front. Parker, congratulations, back-to-back wins. And at the end of the race, it seemed like you pretty much had things well within reason for yourself.
Yeah, I mean, I was, I got really good, really lucky start there, and I didn't really get in the whole mix of it. I kind of just got even with Keith through the second corner, and he raced me really clean, and I didn't really know if we were going to make it through the corner, jumping sideways together, and Keith was really good about it. So I got clear to the lead, and I knew that I just needed to focus on myself and just try and make as good a lap as I could, because I knew Connor was behind me. So it was overall a really good night. I feel like I kind of made bad adjustments before the race and made myself really tight, but it was overall still a really good night, and I just have to thank everyone at Team Rogue.
Yeah, you mentioned Connor behind you because we had talked about that once he had made that pass on Nicholas. Did that actually have kind of an effect that you kind of cursed under your helmet when you saw him get to P2 before the competition caution?
I mean, Connor's really good, so I knew that if he did get to me, he was going to race me clean and we'd race each other clean for the win, but I knew that if I felt like if I could just get clean air again and that restart and race my own race, that I could probably hold Connor off. So I made a lot of mistakes. I got to slow down and lost a bunch of time trying to clear that. So it was overall just a really good race, and I'm happy to get back to back.
The only frustrating thing for us who won a good battle for the championship, you had to miss a number of rounds for real life racing obligations. Do you think maybe next season, if you come back, you can try and be here for the whole season to try and take it to Connor for the title?
Yeah, I mean, I think it would have been a really good battle between me, Connor, and Keaton if I'd been able to make, a couple of the races, but I missed 4 races this year, so I'm just trying to have fun and learn as much as I can because I was a lot later into this off-road iRacing stuff than a lot of the fields, so I've just been trying to learn as much as we can as a team, and I just got to thank Jarrett for having these trucks really gripped up and really quick during these races.
Well, based on your performance, I'd say you're a late bloomer and a very good one as well. Congratulations on the win, Parker.
Thank you.
That was Parker Retzlaff, your winner in the number 31, as Dave has caught up with Connor Berry in the number 2 machine, finishing second appropriately.
Connor Berry, you had a rough one last week. I was out of town. I was down in San Felipe and talked to your dad. He says you tumbled, you fought around, one of your worst rounds. But it was that in your head a little bit coming to this one, because now that Swane had caught up 10 points on you, was there a different mindset coming into Bark River?
Yeah, it was definitely a very tough round at Crandon Short, and we lost almost all of our points. So I knew I had to just be smart and smooth, and I qualified bad, which I was like, shoot. Like I knew that here I struggled a tad bit, but I was not expecting to get a 5th, and then the heat I was able to win that, which was good, and then I got to start P4 in this, and I got into P2 around like lap 4, but I knew that it was going to be tough to go and win. Parker is he's the best here, so I knew that it would be hard to win here. I felt like we put in a fight compared to the round 4 here. We got the gap down to 5 tenths, so I definitely have found some speed, but I need to go and find some more so I can win here.
So basically, Bark River is a unique track. It's very high speed there. Setting them in the corners or trying to figure out the setup of the truck, was that something you were struggling with, or just the lines you were trying to figure out?
It was a mix of both. My lines are definitely, I think I need to fix some of it. I learned some things in that race that actually helped, but I saw some things that I need to go back and tune on my truck, and I think for sure if I can fix those both, I think that I can win here for sure.
And Parker really gave you a run for your money, but did you have any idea how far back Swane was? Were you kind of thinking of that in the back of your head, or were you just concentrating on Parker? That was your one focus?
I was focused on Swane. I knew that he was starting in 8th, so I knew that he was gonna have a pretty tough time. It looks like he finished P7, so we gained back some points, and we look like we're in pretty good shape. But I mean, it is a Crandon start, so I mean it's going to be hard. But I think I can go out there and win and get this and get the championship.
Well, we're definitely going to be looking forward to see what you're going to do with the championship run going on. But so many people work so hard to make this program work for you, and I think it's a little love time.
Sure, I want to give a big thanks to CBR, General Tire, Nitro Circus Sim Team. We put in a lot of work, and we qualified on pole with Roe Fawcett, and it looks like Keith and him, they had some pretty bad luck, but we definitely are fast, and we will keep on trucking, and we will win. So yeah, I want to give a big thanks to them. Teal and Josh, they are behind it all, so I want to give a big thanks to them and you guys for this stream.
Well, thanks a lot, Connor. Good luck. We'll hopefully see that General Tire machine on top of the box in a championship. But I think it's time to go down to Joe, standing by with Nicholas Dachelet.
Indeed, we're going to talk to Nicholas about that third place there. Unfortunately, starting from pole, probably not the position you wanted to wind up in, but you had some hard competition behind you. Is this kind of, this is the best I could do, or do you feel like there was more in it tonight?
Yeah, that start was kind of crazy there. I was able to get up to Parker, up to second, tried to get around him there, but I don't think I had anything for Parker and Connor tonight. They ran a great race. I tried my best to keep up after the comp caution, but just didn't have it. Just ran a quiet third place.
Yeah, sometimes that's all you can really ask for. This place, known for such high speeds, such big jumps out here, was that kind of a blessing, honestly, that you could race the track more than have to worry about the others?
Yeah, this is definitely one of the toughest track on the circuit. It's technical. You have to hit your lines right, or you can lose a bunch of time in every corner. I was just trying to keep the gap behind me the same and just try to just run my lines and get the best lap times I could.
Next time out, we're back to Crandon once again for the long course. You're looking forward to the season finale and a little bit of a break for rest?
Oh yeah, I'm looking forward to Crandon. I was one of the fastest trucks round one, was up front, led some laps. I'm looking forward to going back there. Hometown track, so we're looking to run up front again.
Well, congratulations again on a podium this evening, and best of luck when we head to Wisconsin.
Thank you. I just want to thank Legion Speed Sport, Factory Sim Sport, Tyson, Keaton, Tom, Plum, all them guys over there. They helped me out. We put a ton of time in trying to get these trucks to run like they do. Just want to give a shout out to my family watching, and General Tire for supporting the series, Connor, all he does, and for you guys for putting this on.
Well, thank you very much. That was Nicholas Dachelet, our third place finisher in the number 23 machine this evening, which is going to wrap us up. So make sure and join us on Thursday, April 13th at 9 p.m. Eastern for Crandon International Raceway. And a big thank you goes to the organizers at the General Tire National Series, along with a huge thanks to our team tonight, Dave, Gary, Cam, and Dougie. Also, none of this is possible without those behind the scenes at Podium Esports, Ryan Bauer, Gary Sexton, and John Theodore. Thank you so much for watching tonight's broadcast of the General Tire National Series. I'm Joe Peak, and I'll see you on the track.
For whatever you do, General Tire delivers.